Friends, I am Naresh Dadich. Uh, we are going to talk about an important book on Gandhian thought. Students and researchers, they normally ask me which book we should study to know Gandhian political thought in its totality. Well, there are various books, many books, thousands of books on Gandhi, and many books are coming every year. But there are some seminal works on Gandhi, especially when we talk of his political thought, which are very important and which I believe have made Gandhi a political thinker. Because we must understand that Indian thinkers, especially when we talk of the modern Indian thinkers, they are not giving their ideas in the terminology which the Western philosophers are doing. And that is why the Western philosophers or political thinkers, they do not accept modern Indian thinkers as thinkers at par with them. The reason they cite is that the modern Indian thinkers or modern Indian thought, we do not find concepts on which politics can be discussed. The concepts which they used, the Western thinkers, they believe that these concepts are universal concepts, like liberty, equality, state, fraternity, and sovereignty, justice, and others. So if someone is not dealing with politics by using these concepts, then the dominant Western political thinkers, they do not accept him as a thinker. Now, Indians who belong to the modern India and who have dealt into the political thought, most of them were doing their political thought. They are thinking in response to the British government, in response to colonialism and imperialism, and so they used non-Western concepts or methodologies or approaches to counter the dominance of the Western intellectualism or Western imperialism. And that is why the difficulty arises. Now, it is the duty of the scholars to read these Indian thinkers and conceptualize their thought in the Western terminology also, so that the Western world will accept them as political thinker. And many works have come out in this process, and because of these works of scholars, they include Western scholars also and Indian scholars also. They have worked on Indian thought, in modern Indian thought. They come out with insights into modern Indian thought, and they presented their text in the Western terminology, the dominant Western political terminology also. Now, on Gandhi also, Gandhi was a great thinker, Gandhi was a great human being, he was an activist, we know all about it. But he was established now as an important political thinker of modern period. And I think the credit should go to those scholars or those interpreters or commentators on Gandhian thought who systematized Gandhian thought, which was spread over more than 100 volumes of his writings. Because Gandhi was not consistent, Gandhi was not concerned about academics, Gandhi was totally a full-time politician and a social reformer, an economic reformer. So he did not want to be known as a philosopher or thinker. He has said, as we know, that my life is my message. And so he emphasized more on action than on thinking. But while doing action, he has his own thought and which emerged and which are spread in more than 100 volumes of his writings. And so it is a duty of the scholars who are reading Gandhi that they conceptualize or organize and systematize Gandhian thought. And there are many who have done it very remarkably. And while reading Gandhian thought, the secondary sources on Gandhi, I have come across many books. The book is important from many angles. That is why I have chosen it as the foremost text on Gandhian thought. The title of the book is The Moral and Political Thought of Mahatma Gandhi. Now, the title itself says that it is a very important book. It is published by Oxford University Press in 1973, and the writer of the text is Professor Raghavan Iyer. Now, Raghavan Iyer was a political thinker and a professor of political science in California in one of the universities. And when he wrote this book, before that, he was established as an interpreter of Western political thought. He wrote many texts and many articles on Western political thought. So he was well versed in Western terminology, and that is why he chose Gandhi to present him in the Western terminology, the dominant political terminology, we can say, so that the people in Western world, at least, they will realize that at what level Gandhi was a philosopher or thinker. So he chose this title, The Moral and Political Thought. So the first important aspect of why this book is important is that it is written by someone who knows not only Eastern thought like Gandhian thought, but also the Western thought. I believe that only those, probably not all, but most of the good commentaries in modern Indian thought or modern Indian thinkers can be written by only those who are well versed in Western thought also. Because then these persons will be able to communicate to the Western political thinkers or Western audience that this type of thinking is going on in India. So the first importance of this book is that it is written by someone who knows his task very well. Secondly, he has taken the essence of Gandhian thought or political thought. The essence of Gandhian thought is that Gandhi was primarily a moralist. And so when we talk of his political thought or economic thought or social thought or even his philosophy, we should always be aware that when Gandhi talks, he talks as a moralist. So he comes in the lineage of the moralist thinkers of the world, from we can say from Aristotle to MacIntyre. And so he has written, the title of the book is The Moral and Political Thought, which means he believes, which I think is rightly believes, that Gandhian political thought cannot be studied without referring to his moral foundations. Now, in this book, there are about 13 chapters. And of these 13 chapters, 6 chapters, almost half of the book, is devoted to Gandhi's essence of his political thought or philosophy. What is the essence? The essence is he talks about truth and non-violence or ahimsa. He argues many times that the aim of human life is to attain truth, and the only way to attain that truth is ahimsa. So he has written chapters on Satya, Ahimsa, Satya and Ahimsa, and its relationship, ends and means, and its application in politics, that is Satyagraha. So he wrote 2 chapters on Satyagraha, 2 chapters on Satya and Ahimsa, 1 chapter on the relationship between Satya and Ahimsa, and 1 chapter on a theoretical chapter on the relationship between ends and means. So 6 of the 13 chapters are devoted to Gandhi's essence, which I believe is correct. He has correctly conceptualized that the essence of Gandhi is Satya and Ahimsa, its relationship and its application in political field. So I believe that this is the third importance of this book. So I believe that those who want to study Gandhi as a thinker, they should read this book. In this book, he has compared Gandhi with, he has cited many studies, and he has compared Gandhi with many thinkers also while dealing with different aspects of Gandhian thought. He compared those utterances of Gandhi or his understanding of certain issues with parallel with the Western thinkers who have done some work on that particular issue. So when you read this book, you will come to know that Gandhi was as good a thinker as any Western thinker of the modern type was. So he can we can say that he at a theoretical level he is at par with many political thinkers which we teach in our classes. So anybody who is interested in Gandhian political thought, who is reading it for self-study, for knowledge only, for teaching in classes, for doing research on Gandhi, or for taking competitive examinations, if you want to know about Gandhi, I think this is the best book, first and complete book on Gandhian political thought. Once you read this, then you will find that you have developed a sense of Gandhian political thought. And then you can read many other books which are as important as this one. Even in some aspects, some books are even better. But in treating the completion or in complete political thought, this is, I think, one of the best or the best, I suppose.